Today I'm going to show you how to make chocolate chip cookies. This is a very good chocolate chip cookie recipe, and I know you'll find lots of them different places, but I really like this one, and it's very simple, very easy to understand. First thing you have to do is preheat the oven to 375, and I already have the oven on going. I have it on convection, which means the fan is blowing the warm air around, and you can bake at a lower temperature and it bakes quicker. But I'm also going to bake on a stone, so the stone needs to be in the oven while it's preheating, because you want that stone to heat up. Stoneware bakes differently than conventional, like the metal pans or a lot of those things. So in those you don't heat up ahead of time, but the stoneware you do. So what I'm going to do now is start measuring out some of the ingredients, and we'll get those ready. This recipe calls for a ½ cup of granulated sugar, which is your basic white sugar. In most chocolate chip cookie recipes that I've come across take two kinds of sugars. So again, I fill it to overflowing, cut across it, and then level. So we have the granulated sugar. Then we also have a ½ cup of brown sugar. And brown sugar is a little bit different from other sugar. And you fill this, I had measured this before and it was still staying the size it should be. So you fill it overflowing, pack it in with your hand, because you want this nice and packed. And brown sugar, you always cook with it packed unless it says not packed. And then I'll just cut across it like that and level that out. So that goes in another bowl. And when you've done that right, it maintains its shape. Then you need 2/3 cup of butter that's been softened. And to get 2/3 cup, 1 stick is a ½ cup, and then the third is 2 1/3 tablespoons. Now that's just a measurement I have in my head that I've memorized, so I know that I need 1 stick and then 2 1/2 tablespoons, and 2 1/3 tablespoons. The third tablespoon you have to kind of eyeball when you cut it with the paper. So I have the butter. I have 1 egg. Then I also need 1 1/2 cups of flour. Now I don't want to use the same ½ cup measure that I used in the sugars because we don't want to mix the sugar and the flour. So I'm going to get a clean ½ cup measure, and I have to use 1 cup and then a ½ cup. So we fill that to overflowing. Take our straight edge spatula, cut across, put that in a bowl, and then I'm going to measure the ½ cup also. I'm getting down to the end of my flour. And you fill that to overflowing, cut across, and level. So that's our 1 1/2 cups of flour. We need a ½ teaspoon of baking soda. This is another kind of leavening. Most cookies take baking soda, not all of them. Depends on the kinds of cookies that you're making. And this is kind of the dip method. You're going to dip it in your box and pull it out and level it off on the way out, because it's very hard to level with a straight edge spatula. So there's that one. And the last one is the ½ teaspoon of salt. I will measure this over another container, because salt pours out pretty fast. And all of that. I had a little bit extra. Put that in a container. Now, the directions say, first of all, to heat the oven, so that I've done that. Mix both sugars. So I'll take both of these sugars. And the egg. And I should have saved something for my egg. I guess I'll break it into one of these. This is the one I measured the sugar in. So take a knife, a straight edge spatula, give it a quick wrap. I really wrapped it that hard that time. And you do this just so that if you have any eggshells or if the egg is bad, you know it and you're not putting it into your bowl of ingredients and totally messing everything up that you have to throw everything away. That would be sad. And the butter goes in here. So I've had both of these out at room temperature. Hopefully they will mix up easily. And take a wooden spoon and carefully, you're going to mash down your brown sugar and kind of cut the, oh, I missed some of the paper. Good thing I did that. Cut some of the butter, just cut it into pieces so that you can get it mixed. And it's a little harder to do when it's too hard. That's why you want it soft. Now, this recipe says to stir with a spoon. And we'll see how this works. If I don't think it's going to mix up easily enough, I'm going to get out the little hand mixer, a little electric mixer that, and every one of your kitchens has those. Because I think I will do that. Alright, what I'm going to do now is mix this, excuse me, with the electric mixer. You want to scrape down the sides. A lot of recipes will say cream together the sugars and the shortening, which would be the butter, the margarine, the Crisco. Sugars would be brown sugar, white sugar. Okay, this is what it looks like when it's creamed together really nicely. And it's not mixing in the flour or anything else yet. And it just gets a good mix to everything. And so if you ever see a recipe that says cream the following ingredients, that's what it means, because you're getting a real good blend, a real good mix. Okay, now it says stir in the flour, the baking soda, and the salt. So I'm going to take these over and mix these in. You're going to have to be real careful adding the flour when you mix it, because flour likes to go all over the place. So if you're going to use your electric mixer, make sure it's on low speed. and make sure you keep your beater down in. And I'm going to put my hand on the side just to keep it from flying all over the place. Okay, the flour is almost mixed in. It's still dry around. There's still some dry pieces, and it's just about the stage where it will come together and form a nice clean dough. It will make a nice dough. So I'll give it a little more mix. Now, I don't know if you can see that difference, but all of a sudden it just pulled together and it is into a dough now, and that's what you want. The last part of this is to add the chocolate chips. So it's a cup of chocolate chips, half a package, 6 ounces, which equals a cup. And you know, I usually buy 12-ounce bags, so you'll know you get a half cup, half a package. Okay, this is a very, very stiff dough, and it's mixed. Move this out of the way. I have 2 different scoops. One is a real small one, one's a medium one. And I like to use these to scoop cookie dough. And I think what I'll do is try one size and then try the next size. So what I have to do is I have to get my stone out of the oven because it's nice and hot. And I'll get things set up right here. And we'll get these in the oven and get them baking. When you put these on a cookie sheet, you know they're going to spread a little bit. So you don't want to get too much dough and you don't want them too close to each other. So I'll put them on, and I can probably get 3, maybe 4 across if I do small ones. If I do bigger ones, I'm not going to get that many across. Kind of depends on the size of cookies that you want. Get that pretty close. And this is an ungreased sheet, and if you use just a regular metal sheet, there is enough shortening in these cookies that you do not need to grease them or grease the pan. So don't worry about having to grease the pan. So I'll do these 2 rows with this one, and then I'll change out and do the larger one so you can see the difference in sizes. Sometimes it's nicer to have smaller cookies. But this is the medium size. I have 3 sizes, just depends. And if you don't have these, you can take a couple of spoons. And I guess maybe I should show you the spoons also. But see, that's about twice as much in that cookie. And this really is not a good idea because these are going to bake more quickly than this one. So I think I'm going to stop and not do that. Because you want them very uniform in size. You don't want to have different sizes. Just because this one I just put on there would take longer to bake, And if you kept it in there long enough to bake that one, then the smaller ones would be too done. Do that. And let me try some spoons. And what you'll do is you'll get some batter on your spoon, about like that, and then you'll just push it off and try to form a nice sized ball. And this one is not exact because you can get a lot more, you can get a lot less using this method, but it works. You just practice a little and you can get them pretty uniform. Now, if you're baking on a metal sheet like at school, what you'll do is get one pan in the oven and have the next pan all dipped up, ready to go, so when this one comes out, you can get the other one in. This is not a difficult recipe, it just takes a little time. I think I might have made that one a little big. And these are probably going to run into each other when I pull them out. Okay, these are ready to go into the oven. So what I'll do is I'll put them in and then I'll set the timer. And because that stone is already hot, they've already started to melt down a little and cook a little. So kitchen timer, 10 minutes. And it says bake for 10 to 12 minutes. I always bake the shorter amount of time and check them, and then if I need to add more time, I can add more time. So that's why I always set the timer that way. So we'll watch them and see what happens when they come out. Okay, while the cookies are baking, I want to get the bowl ready to go. And I have a lot of dough in this beater that came out of the mixer. And it's so thick, and a lot of times it's really difficult to get that out. The trick I found is if you just use a knife and cut down through, you can kind of force it out. And it comes out really clean. So that's just a trick of the trade that I've found over the years to clean this out, get all the dough out, because you're not going to eat this dough. You're going to make sure that it goes into cookies. The cookie dough that you eat in the ice cream and the packages at the store has been pasteurized. This is not. So, and see how clean that comes out. So we're not cleaning beaters. We're not going to lick the beaters. Okay, I checked the cookies and they're really getting nice and brown. So it hasn't been the full time, and I want to pull them out. And I think it's because of the stone that they cook a little more quick. They cook more quickly than in a regular pan. So that's something you need to always check on. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just let them set for just a little bit, and then I'll pull them out. And I will put them on this wire rack because you want them to cool completely. And a wire rack allows the air to circulate. But this is what the chocolate chip cookies look like. Of the ones I did with the spoon, definitely are bigger than the ones with the scoop. So that's the chocolate chip cookie recipe. The cookies have cooled down just a little bit, so they're a little bit easier to pull out, to get off the cookie sheet. And you just have to be real careful when you scoop under them and pull them out. and get them onto the wire. Get them onto the wire rack. So that's why I said it's really important to make sure that they're all uniform size, so that they're all baked about the same amounts, because you don't want some that are crispy critters and the others that aren't done at all. So.